You screamed for Scream. You stayed awake for Halloween. You went camping on Friday the 13th, and you stayed awake for Nightmare on Elm Street. Now shimmy into that skirt. Pick up whatever blade's handy. It's time for The Last Final Girl. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. You idiot. Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. So Amanda from the channel The Reading and Writing Life asked me to participate in her month-long celebration journey, whatever you like to call it, month-long reviews of Stephen Graham Jones. And I gladly accepted the offer, and I will be reviewing, I think, at least 2, if not 3, Stephen Graham Jones books that I've read or that I'm going to read this month. And the first one up for this month is The Last Final Girl. But before I get into that, I just want to quickly mention that Stephen Graham Jones is quickly becoming one of my favorite horror writers and just in general, one of my favorite authors to read. I've loved almost everything that the man has written. He just has such a unique writing style, very literary horror, and I love just jumping into one of his books, not really knowing anything about it, and just getting lost into whatever the hell I'm in for in one of his books. And with that being said, for today, I will be doing a quick review for The Last Final Girl, which I've said that I've enjoyed all of his books. I will admit though, this is so far my least favorite Stephen Graham Jones story. Now this is just like a little 200-page novel, you might even consider it a novella. I give this book 3 stars, which, you know, for being my least favorite Stephen Graham Jones book, that's still pretty good. I still enjoyed it for the most part. There were some things that I didn't absolutely love about it, of course, and I will get into that. But like I said, this is easily my least favorite Stephen Graham Jones book / story or whatever. And it looks like I'm not alone, because when I checked Goodreads this morning, I just wanted to like read some reviews and whatnot. But I checked Goodreads and the review, or the rating for it is 3.15, which for Goodreads, that's very, very low. And maybe it doesn't deserve to be that low, but it looks like I'm not alone in saying that, like, this is probably not a lot of people's favorite Stephen Graham Jones book. And also, my good friend Evie from the channel She Was Only Evie, she's a Stephen Graham Jones mega fan, but she only gave this book 4 stars. When she normally gives a lot of his books 5 stars. So that's saying something also, I believe. But enough about that, let's talk about the actual book. So The Last Final Girl was published about 10 years ago in 2012. So it was one of the earlier Stephen Graham Jones novels that he wrote. And with a title like The Last Final Girl, you can kind of tell what the story is going to be about, especially like the blurb on the front. You can kind of tell it's going to be a slasher, and that's definitely what I was looking forward to for this book. But what surprised me about it the most was that the whole book is written in sort of like a movie script way, where like there's normal dialogue, right? But there's no prose. It's basically just like, you know, kind of like a movie director saying like, okay, this is what you're going to see. This is what's happening like behind the scenes, and like literally like a screenshot of like what is happening in the scene. Not so much typical prose that you would find in a novel, which was very interesting when I first started it, but you get a little ways into it, and it felt kind of gimmicky to me. Like, it's one of the stories that, like, sure, it's a very short novel, it's like 200 pages, but for me, the gimmick kind of lost its charm, like, halfway through it, and I was just kind of bored by it a little bit. There were still some interesting moments in here and some definitely shocking things happening, but I think I would have liked it better if it was more condensed, like if it was like a 100-page novella instead of a 200-page short novel. I think the gimmick could have lasted better, or I wouldn't have lost interest in it so quickly. But yeah, overall though, I still did enjoy that element, just not in like a full-length novel form. But of course, it's still a fun novel, and it's basically, you know, you get what you get. Like, it's a slasher. Like, there's no other way to put it. It's just a slasher called The Last Final Girl, and it's got typical slasher things. You got teenagers doing teenage things, getting killed, and yeah, it's a slasher. That's really all you need to know. There's nothing fancy about it. It's a slasher. It's got some self-aware stuff in it too that makes it pretty funny at times. But overall, I will say, like I said earlier in this review, it is my least favorite Stephen Graham Jones novel, and I think he improves upon this concept of having like the final girl trope in his book with his newer release called My Heart is a Chainsaw. I much preferred that book, but of course I won't be talking about that too much in detail because I'm sure someone else will be reviewing that later on this month for good reason. Great novel. But I do feel like he did a better job with the final girl stuff and the slasher trope in that novel compared to this one. But like I said, I still enjoyed it, just not on the level that I've loved his other works, such as like The Only Good Indian, My Heart is a Chainsaw, The Least of My Scars, my Night of the Mannequins, right? Like those are like 5 stars, like just great books. For this one, it was pretty good, not spectacular. I would give it 3 stars. I would still recommend it though, maybe not as like a first Stephen Graham Jones read. I would probably say like The Only Good Indians or My Heart is a Chainsaw would be a much better option. But still, if you read some Stephen Graham Jones and you enjoy his works, I would say give it a shot. You might like it more than I did. Okay, so that's my little review for The Last Final Girl. 3 stars, not spectacular, but I still recommend it for Stephen Graham Jones fans. And like I said, this is one of many videos that are coming out this month because of Amanda from The Reading and Writing Life. She's kind of hosting this and organizing everything. She's getting a bunch of her friends and fellow booktubers to post one Stephen Graham Jones review a month, and this is one of them. And like I said, I will be reviewing a couple, maybe 1 or 2 more of his reviews later on this month, so be on the lookout for that. And this will be posted along with a playlist of other Stephen Graham Jones reviews, and that will be linked down below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and be sure to go check out those other Stephen Graham Jones reviews, and let me know what you guys thought of this video, and let me know what you guys thought of this book. Have you read The Last Final Girl? If so, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and the Bookish Drummer Discord, and if you'd like to further support me financially, go check out my Patreon page and see what that's all about. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a terrific day.